with something that makes the old system obsolete. And that's exactly what I've done. As soon as I was told masks were going to be mandatory in schools, I wasn't even in the country. I was in Ireland when this happened. And I was in high spirits because in Ireland, they only have 5 million people, but their protest is a lot larger than ours. They were not into the mandatory masks. They are not complying. I am so proud of them. And the best part of all, they look to us as leaders of this movement. The Irish people knew who I was. Somehow, I was shocked, but pleasantly surprised. They talk about the Toronto anti-lockdown movement as a global leader. They talk about hugs over masks. They talk about MAD. I could not believe the impact we had around the world. And that's where I was told these masks were going to become mandatory. So I said, no bloody way. We made a corporation within a few days. By August 18th, I had Private On Demand Inc. Incorporated. I came up with the business model, and I was told by the Ontario School Board that in order for me to be able to proceed this year, I would have to file my notice of intent by September 1st. It gave me about 13 days, and I wasn't even in the country. Well, guess what? I got the notice of intent filed August 28th and officially accepted. So now we're talking to locations, over a dozen prospective locations. We already have over 100 students on the waiting list. We are ready to go. We're going to open schools all over Ontario, and then we're going to expand it to the rest of Canada. Every child we take out of the public school system is one child, one soul we're saving. We are saving them from this tyranny and from a future of servitude and mediocrity. Private On Demand is empowering children today and creating leaders tomorrow. This is the future of education. When you have real community involvement, I'll tell you how it works. We get somebody from the community, someone in London, someone in Caledon, someone in Brampton, that wants the baby, had run a home school before, but didn't know how, didn't have the time. They donate their space to me. I transform it into a registered private school. We staff it, we put children in it, we teach their children. The tuition is extremely inexpensive. How? Because they're donating the location. Everybody who donates the location is saving us this monthly rent or upfront cost of building a place. That would be tuition costs. These people are compensated by receiving a percentage of the annual revenue from the school. So in part, they're basically becoming a small partner in the school, and they're helping their community. Then we have teachers, combination of volunteered and hired teachers. Obviously, the salary of the teacher gets divided among the students. Private On Demand does not want to make $1 of profit off of any staff hired, so whatever the cost of the staff is, it will be to the dollar charged to the children. The profits are also going to be split up in a way that makes it sustainable and that helps as many people as possible. We're going to give a percentage of the profit, as I said, to the owner of the location. We're going to allow the owner of the location to donate a percentage of the profits to the children's charity of their choice. Private On Demand is going to donate a percentage of the profits to a supplemental tuition program that allows low-income families to claim a portion of their tuition back. And the rest of it will go to the corporation to help expand these services and improve these services, not only in Ontario, not only in Canada, but hopefully worldwide. We see this as eliminating the need for public education, which brings up a very important factor. Do you guys know how much your government charges you in tax dollars per child per year for that wonderful public school system?
Too much!
$12,500 per child per year. When we get thousands of kids in a healthier, more enjoyable, superior learning environment, how long is it going to take for those parents to start asking for their money back? This is why they're attacking me like I've never been attacked before. I thought it was bad when I made the cards. I thought it was bad when we did the parties. I thought it was bad when we did the protests on the TTC. It's never been like this. Why? Because they know that their school system is obsolete and our school system with community involvement that actually puts children first and gives control back to the parents is the future. This is the future of education. This is the future of saving our children from this tyranny, and they know it. They know when we stop the mandatory masks and the social distancing in the schools, it can permeate to the rest of society. You know what I saw today on the way here? I almost threw up in my mouth. There was a billboard on a bus stop with a giant mask on it, telling all Torontonians, when outside in public, try to wear a mask if you can't social distance. Already priming you for the mandatory mask outside, a la Australia. In Ireland, they're already closing down pubs, bars, restaurants at 11 o'clock. Just when people, this is the Irish we're talking about, just when they start drinking. Why? Because they want to put them on curfew. So they're trying to get them home early. This is not accidental. When they do something in a place like Australia and then refer to it as the Australian model, models are things they like to emulate. And they will if you let them. I will point out to Virginia, this is just another reason why the public school system has failed you. Where is your child more likely to contact COVID or any other infectious disease? In a school with 15 children or a school with 500? I don't care how many dots you have on the floor. I don't care how much you try to social distance and how many layers of mask you put on your children. There is no way, mathematically, that your child has more chance of contracting COVID or any other disease at a small private school versus a public school. And guess what will happen when your child does come in contact with someone in COVID, or even if someone sneezes in a public school classroom? They're going to quarantine that class. They're going to test every kid in that class. And as we all know, the false positives will show. Then guess what they're going to do? They're going to take your children away from you. Everybody talks about quarantine and says they can't take your kids, they can't separate families. I suggest you guys look at the little caveat under quarantine called isolation. Isolation is different. Isolation is when you know that somebody has COVID or they presume to have COVID. Under those conditions, they explicitly tell you that they can and will separate children from their families. And then guess what they're going to tell you? You don't want that to happen again. You better take your vaccine. November 1st, the vaccine goes on sale in the United States. I'll say on sale because obviously it's a product and they're selling it. When people say that it's free and it comes from the government, where do you think the government gets it from? Your tax dollars, you're paying for it. To the tune of 10 billion doses a year at around $100 a dose if they get a bargain discount. That's only about $1 trillion a year that they're making off this vaccine. But no, they have no conflict of interest. And it's perfectly safe to take a vaccine that was created in about 9 months, rushed through clinical trials, passed with an emergency declaration because they can't get it to pass safety trials. They don't even have enough time. But they're telling you that when a normal vaccine takes 10 to 15 years before it's safely to inject in an entire population, that this one is safe for you and your family after just 9 months. I don't know about you, but I won't be lining up for that vaccine.
No vaccines!
No vaccines! And this is not a protest. I want everybody to get the idea of protest out of their head. Protest is what children do when their parents tell them something and they don't want to do it. Go brush your teeth. Now! That's a protest. This is not a protest. We're not children. We're not telling them that we're not going to follow their orders. This is united non-compliance. This is recognizing you're an adult and you make your own decisions. They do not have authority over you. You have your own authority over yourself and your children. They're so desperate, they're offering people $200 to put their kid back in school. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? And I'm happy to say, I know people. The guy who made my private on-demand website for me, his kids go to a school with over 900 children. 900. You know how many are actually signed up to go back? Around 300. Where are all those other kids gonna go? Private on demand, maybe? I hope so. I really do. We gotta talk about another initiative real quick, because this one is going to blow the lid off of everything. It's the reason we've been going around the world. It's the reason we're going to be talking in different countries around the world. It's called the Earth United Initiative.
Yes, thank you, Chris, thank you.
You're welcome. I know, they approach me, they're like, we need someone like you to tell people about this. I'm like, well, tell me about it, and if I like it, I'll tell people about it. I'm not going to just tell you I'm going to promote something for you, no. If I